Xavi Simons, quite possibly the most unique wonderkid in the modern era of football. A social media sensation from the age of 13 and now, age 20, one of Europe's most prized footballing talents. Truth be told, Xavi was already a star long before he made his professional debut, amassing millions of followers on Instagram and landing multi-million-dollar deals with Nike in the process. The internet was captivated by his extraordinary footballing exploits at such a young age. But unlike many other wonder kids that have failed to live up to the hype, Xavi has instead thrived under the intense media scrutiny to become what he is today, a genuine star in the making. The year was 2016. Donald Trump was yet to become President of the United States of America. Believe me, Pokemon Go became an instant bizarre phenomenon, and in the football world, we got our first glimpse of Xavier Simons. Xavi was unearthed at the renowned La Masia Academy, the same institution that brought us Lionel Messi, the former Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, and so many more. Fun fact, Xavi Simons was literally named after the iconic midfielder and now current manager of Barcelona. But back to Simons, he stood out from a young age due to his one-of-a-kind profile. With hair like Puyol but blonde, passing abilities like Xavi, and skills like Messi, Xavi Simons blew everyone away with his aesthetic and qualities as a deep-lying playmaker. Not to mention, he was completely outclassing players that were legit a foot taller than him. Nike were quick to jump on the hype train, signing him to a sponsorship deal at just 13, and by 14 he had already generated over 1 million Instagram followers. He was the crown jewel of La Masia, the future of Barcelona, and everyone wanted a piece of him. From elite football clubs to prominent agents, and none greater than the controversial Mino Raiola. Now the super agent is no longer with us, passing away in 2022, but when Xavi came to early prominence, Raiola was quick to get involved. The Italian-Dutch agent already had an extensive list of high-profile football clients, but Xavi was the next big thing. There was potentially a lot of money to be made for both parties. Hence, a partnership was formed, which inadvertently changed Xavi's entire career trajectory. As his stocks continued to rise within the La Masia Academy, other big clubs were taking notice. Barcelona had offered a new contract, but Xavi's team shockingly rejected a renewal, leading to his departure from the club in 2019 at just 16. Xavi had no shortage of potential destinations, although many were surprised at his decision to sign his first professional contract at PSG in France. He faced extensive criticism for this move, being accused of prioritizing financial incentives over a club that had nurtured his development since childhood. However, Xavi's team dismissed this notion, claiming that the move was purely based on sporting merit. It was a genuine head-scratcher though, because so much youth talent had been neglected at PSG in the past in favor of superstars, whereas Barca always put an emphasis in promoting La Masia prospects. However, Xavi's team were convinced that this was the right call, which incensed Barca fans. So Xavi moved to Paris, and the next 2 seasons were integral to his development. Whilst he possessed immense technical ability and footballing intelligence, his physicality was simply not ready for the demands of first-team football. So his personal development was heavily focused on improving his overall athleticism. In February of 2021, 19 months after his arrival to PSG, he finally made his long-awaited first-team debut in the League Cup against SM Caen, followed by his Ligue 1 debut 2 months later. The next season, Xavi had improved significantly. Within the youth team, he was a star, registering 4 goals, 6 assists in just 7 UEFA Youth League matches. But this didn't translate to first-team success. Xavi only made 6 league appearances that season and missed the decisive spot kick in the Coupe de France to send PSG packing. And despite his young age, PSG's manager Mauricio Pochettino didn't hold back, criticizing Xavi for stepping up when he supposedly wasn't told to. Ouch. So after 3 years in the French capital and with his contract set to expire shortly, Xavi had a huge decision to make. Renew at PSG and continue to fight for a place amongst several high-profile names, or pursue a future elsewhere. And Xavi chose the latter, signing for Dutch side PSV Eindhoven on a free transfer. This move came as quite a surprise. After the difficulties Xavi faced so early on in his senior career, the wonder kid had already been labelled a massive flop, and that moving to PSV signalled a massive downgrade in his career. In fact, a lot of people seem to relish Xavi's misfortune on the pitch. The internet can be a toxic place, but it didn't take long for the 19-year-old Dutchman to silence the haters. In his first appearance for the club in the Johan Cruyff Shield, he came off the bench scoring a stunning solo goal against Ajax, signalling the start of a new era. Someone must have hurt this man because he was playing with such fierce intensity. He wanted to prove a point and that he was still the real deal. In his first 4 league games, he had 6 goals, 2 assists. He won Player of the Month for August, the youngest player in Eredivisie history to win the award. He continued to prosper as the creative force in Van Nistelrooy's attack-minded PSV side, and his incredible form was rewarded with a place in the Netherlands World Cup squad, where Xavi would go on to make his senior debut in the round of 16 against the United States, capping off a memorable end to 2022. But if you thought that Xavi would slow down in the new year, you would be mistaken. PSV were dealt a massive blow in the January transfer window when Cody Gakpo secured a lucrative move to Liverpool. He was the talisman of PSV with 29 goal contributions in just 24 games that season. Insane numbers. So Xavi needed to step up big time in his absence, and he did exactly that. Though PSV did fall short of title glory to Feyenoord, it wasn't without the Herculean efforts of Xavi. He more or less carried the side in the back end of the 22-23 season, finishing as the league's equal top scorer, the youngest player to do so since OG Ronaldo in '95. Xavi also started in every single league game and picked up another Player of the Month award in March. With all due respect to PSV, Xavi proved that he was already too good for Dutch football. But his next decision would once again cause controversy. People couldn't believe that PSG had simply let Xavi leave the club for free, especially when he started banging in goals for fun in the Netherlands. But make no mistake, PSG were calculated in their decision by inserting a dirt cheap €6 million buyback clause for which they could activate by the end of July 2023. This was a no-brainer decision for PSG to activate the clause, considering that Xavi's actual transfer value was probably 10x higher than what they'd have to usually pay. The catch, however, was that Xavi had the final decision. If he said no, PSG couldn't sign him. And Xavi himself was torn, as he wanted regular first-team football assurances, something PSG couldn't definitively offer. So PSG provided an alternative solution to satisfy both parties, where they would sign the player, Xavi, and immediately allow him to leave on loan to Bundesliga and Champions League outfit RB Leipzig. Xavi agreed and subsequently signed for PSG before moving to Germany. And just like he did at PSV, he has hit the ground running at Leipzig, scoring 2 goals and assisting 3 in just 4 games for the club, and has already lifted silverware in the process, smashing Bayern Munich 3-0 in the Super Cup. It is early days in Xavi's Bundesliga career, but I couldn't think of a better environment to develop than playing at Leipzig, a club that has churned out star after star in recent history, all whilst providing young players with elite European football. Nothing is guaranteed in this world, but based off of Xavi's continual growth, I think it's safe to assume he will have a stellar career. People have criticized him heavily throughout the years. He's been labeled greedy, a fraud, even worse, an influencer. But despite the mind-blowing social media attention generated as a kid, he has somehow managed to stay grounded through it all, something very few people will be capable of replicating. And 7 years later, we're starting to see the true fruits of his own labor, and that Xavi Simons is destined for superstardom. Thank you to those who stuck around to the very end. If you liked this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you didn't, let me know why in the comments below. The past 11 months, I have built this channel from around 300 subs to over 60k on shorts football content, but I do want to take this channel to the next level with longer, more detailed content in mind. So any feedback is greatly appreciated. But nonetheless, take care, and hopefully I'll see you same time next week. Cheers.